Welcome back to the BookEnds YouTube channel. Today we are answering a really great viewer question, and I think we've not done this before, if I'm not mistaken. Have we? I don't know. Whatever.
We've done the answer the viewer question. I don't think we've done this question.
I don't think we've done this specific kind of question before.
The viewers
But
and I were all trying to figure out what you were talking about.
sometimes you just have to let me have a conversation with myself and I'll be ready. But ES Sierra commented and said, does an author get to provide input on things like cover design for a paperback release, anniversary edition, foreign rights adaptation, or anything beyond their first or initial release? Basically, how much involvement does an author have? And I know we've talked about it specifically for cover and title, but I think in general, we can sort of talk a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, I think they're asking beyond that first book, which we have discussed how involved the author can be with the first book, but in all the subsequent possible editions, subsidiary rights sales and things like that, which is a great question.
Yeah. So for those that don't know,
It depends.
Yeah, everything depends, really. I feel like that's our answer for everything. But for those that don't know, subsidiary rights are the rights that are not the print book that we're selling, right? So the audio, film, if you sell it, translation rights, things like serialization rights, all of that is considered subsidiary rights. But there are also things like ES Sierra asks about anniversary editions, paperback edition. So beyond that first hardcover release of your book, lots of things, or paperback, yeah. There are lots of things that can happen in the next printing, in the next, edition that gets published. So how involved are you? Is it something that your authors are involved in general? Does it depend on the author? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in general, I think anything that's through your original publisher. So if you had a hardcover edition and now they're doing a paperback or an anniversary edition, or they're just repackaging the book, sometimes books, after a certain number of years have a renewed success or more success or something like that. And the design elements have changed, the trends and covers have changed, and the publisher will decide to repackage it. In those cases, I always feel that the author typically has as much input as they did with the first one. So the publisher won't just go ahead and do it. They will reach out to you. We want to do a new paperback or an anniversary edition or whatever, and they will work with you on it. In the same capacity they did with the first one.
Right. On the other side of things, there's the licensing that the publishers will do. So if they're holding any right, they can also license it to a third party. So for instance, Penguin Random House could license your audiobook to Tantor Media or to Audible or to whoever. And how involved are authors in that process?
It depends.
Yeah.
I find the audio publishers are usually pretty good. Typically in your contract, you would want, as far as the narrator goes, typically, if you can, you would want your agent to give you consultation on helping to choose the narrator. And then I find when it comes to covers, if the audio publisher is creating a brand new cover, typically they're pretty good about involving the author. A lot of times, though, they just take the cover from the publisher and they might zoom in, they might zoom out, they might fluff it a little bit, but typically they stick with a very similar cover in my experience.
Right. Audio, I feel like, is the most collaborative. Foreign is kind of hit or miss depending on the territory,
And I would say a lot of times foreign is a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times we'll see the cover. Well, actually, a lot of times we don't even see the cover when it's finished.
Sometimes you don't even know that it's been sold to another territory.
That's true. But if it is, a lot of times you don't even know when it's publishing or what. So it is dependent. But the other thing too is I think what's important to remember where foreign is concerned is that the market for your book in another country can be very different than your market for your book in this country. So the cover may look completely different or bizarre or not what you would expect, but it's right for their market. So I think sometimes it's hard to have opinions on that because we don't know the market.
Yeah, and we're also talking about lots of different people in one country, lots of different people in another country, and you. So sometimes it all doesn't sync up for involvement or what have you. But usually any other editions or buy-ins or book a month club or anything like that, you are usually made aware of.
Yeah.
Your publisher will usually tell you that these exciting things are happening. How involved you'll be does depend on who that licensee is.
Yeah, and I think it's fine, to be honest, because you're not usually out there buying that book and they know their market and what their market needs. I actually think the foreign editions are so fun because
It
they
is
are
cool.
always so unexpected and so different.
But
And
also when you line them up next to each
yeah,
other, and like all the different variations, all the different markets, it is really cool to see.
yeah, for example, some of the books that we might sell in as adult here sell in other markets more as kids books, and so the covers are representative of that or something like that. So it is kind of fun. So yeah, I think that's how involved they get. Did we have anything else we wanted to add on that?
I think that's really everything. I think the main message that we're sending is having a good relationship with your publisher, being in contact with them. Usually it's a give and take. Usually you'll get the information you're looking for. If you ever see something pop up online, which I can assure you, the more books you have, you will just find something online by accident or get tagged in something on social media from a foreign publisher or not. You will inevitably have that experience. So
Yes.
know that it happens. It's normal. I wish you got notified, but sometimes you just don't. Reach out to your agent, reach out to your publisher. They will give you the information you want
Yeah.
or you need. But hopefully, everyone is striving to be as collaborative as possible. Sometimes there are exceptions to that rule.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
hope that answers the ES Sierra's question, but it was a good one.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a whole different conversation for us.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you back here next week.
Bye.
We're going to go film our second video of the day.
We're gonna eat my cookie.
Okay.